So I was feeling pretty good. I was in Terminal 5 of JFK. It's the JetBlue terminal. I'd planned a really great vacation, and I'd really enjoyed planning it. I'd even found a really cheap flight to Denver during Christmas time, which was pretty tricky, though we got in at 2 in the morning. But that was okay because we also got a reservation at a hotel that was actually in the terminal. So I sat down with my wife and kids, and we to eat some overpriced but surprisingly tasty cheeseburgers as we went on our trip to Breckenridge. When my wife turned to me and said, "What's the name of that hotel we're staying in? What's the reservation number?" And I said, "I don't know. You made it, didn't you?" And she says, "No, no, no, I didn't." Um, so then we spent the next half an hour trying to find the next nearest hotel that wasn't in the terminal of the airport as we planned, but an Econo Lodge about an hour away. And overall, we got on the flight, and remember I said that we had to land at 2 o'clock in the morning? But I figured, with an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, like, they just go to sleep, right? What I forgot was that we were on JetBlue, and JetBlue has these little tiny TVs that are right in front of right in behind the headrests so that you can watch TV. And JetBlue has amazing children's programming. So instead of just getting on the flight at 10 o'clock and falling asleep, my kids, watched TV until about 1:45 in the morning, right as we were landing. So after we landed, of course, I was walking through the Denver airport, tugging my luggage on its wheels behind me, with two children who were asleep on top of that luggage. And then when we got to Breckenridge, it was wonderful. Breckenridge is the tallest ski mountain in the entire of North America. It's 13,000 feet at its summit, and then you'd go up, and my wife and I would just have an enormous peak to ourselves. Beautiful white snow just as far as the eye could see, like just amazing. And even the base at Breckenridge was as tall as the mountains of nearby mountains. So about 10,000 feet. And at 10,000 feet, people start to get altitude sickness. So our friends Jeff and Debbie, who we went with, they just couldn't get out of bed some days and couldn't go skiing. And, they'd wake up in the morning and they'd just be nauseous and have these bloodshot eyes and just kind of looking at us like this crazy, disturbed way. And Abigail, my wife, wasn't doing great either. So one day, Blake, my 8-year-old, and I went to get her some comfort food. And Blake comes back. He has this nice bag with him, and he says, Mommy, I got you some wine. And Abigail just looks at him and says, "Oh no." She goes, "Look, I have dehydration sickness. I have altitude sickness, and this is just going to make me sicker. It's going to make me more dehydrated." And Blake, being 8, just looks down. He just says, "Mommy, I'm so sorry. Wine always makes Mommy feel better." So you could look at this and think, these are problems, this happens, but, it could happen to anyone. It's not your fault, Rob. But you'd be wrong. So look at the time when Ari was at ski school. He's 5 years old. It's after ski school, and I go up to him and I say, "How's it going, son?" And he looks back at me and he just goes, "It's going good, but I'm trying to figure out, how do I pee in my ski suit?" So I'm thinking, this is, be a good dad, So, son, it's very easy. You just sort of go into the bathroom and you pee, and it's not hard. You'll be fine. I felt good because, confidence. So the next day I see him and I say, "Ari, how are things?" And he just kind of, looks at me and doesn't want to talk. And I say, "Ari, what's going on?" And he looks at me and says, I peed my pants. And a light bulb went off in my head, and I realized that the question from yesterday was not a confidence building question or something where we practice our courage. He literally wanted me to go to the bathroom with him to show him how to pee. And if I would have done that, this whole situation we were in today never needed to happen. So, we managed to make it through the entire week, and we were feeling pretty good. And Abigail and I were going on the chairlift up for the last run. We were, we had a wonderful vacation so far. And I said to her, honey, this is the last run. This is the one where people fall down and get hurt because they're just tired and they want to make the most of that last run. And she said, I know, I agree with you. So we get off the chairlift, and Breckenridge has a bit of a problem in that the signs are not very well written. It's kind of like looking at the scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. So Abigail saw a sign that said go that way, and I saw a sign that said go that way. And we both followed those signs, and we smack into each other. And we start rolling down the mountain. Snow's flying everywhere. And we finally stop, and the misty snow starts kind of moving away, and I look up, and out of that kind of mist, I see a genie. Well, not so much a genie, but a ski patrol guy in a big yellow suit. And he asks me, are you okay? And I thought about it for a while. And I realized I'm more than okay. We had a wonderful week of skiing, and nobody from my family even went to the hospital, which is a big metric in my family. We had wonderful skiing, we had great friends, we had great food, and even the things that didn't go perfectly, like the fact that Jeff and Debbie couldn't ski with us, that just meant that Abigail and I get to spend more time together than we'd spent really together since the kids were born. And I learned a lot from this trip. I learned that having a great trip is not about planning it well and having everything go perfectly. I learned that we decided to have a great trip, and we weren't going to let any of these pitfalls or pratfalls kind of mess us up. These were just things that, kind of you look at and say, well, that's going to be a funny story at some point. So the next time you take a trip, remember that you can decide to have the best vacation ever.